all at once. I'll have to make a sacrifice for the greater good, even if it means losing what I cherish most.
The story continues in a universe forever changed by the rise of Paul Atreides, now no longer simply a survivor or prophet, but a ruler whose power stretches across countless worlds. The desert planet Arrakis stands transformed, not just politically but spiritually, because belief has become as dangerous as any weapon. Entire civilizations now whisper his name with reverence, fear, or resentment. The empire that once oppressed the Fremen has fallen under the influence of the very man they elevated, yet victory has not brought peace. Instead, it has opened the door to consequences far larger than any single battle. Paul carries the weight of prescience, a gift that feels increasingly like imprisonment. Every decision he makes ripples across the galaxy in waves of violence he struggles to avoid yet cannot fully escape. The visions show wars fought in his name, armies marching beneath banners bearing symbols he never intended to become sacred. He understands that becoming a messiah solved one crisis but created another. Belief is harder to control than politics. The desert wind itself feels heavier now, as if Arrakis recognizes that its chosen figure stands at the edge of destiny rather than at its center. Chni sees the change in him before anyone else. To her, Paul is still the man who learned to walk the sand and respect the life hidden beneath it. Yet she watches the distance grow between the man she loves and the emperor others worship. She fears that every step he takes toward maintaining power pulls him further from humanity. Their relationship becomes strained by silence more than argument. Words feel fragile when entire religions are forming around personal choices. She does not doubt his intentions, but she questions whether intention matters once belief escapes control. Across the galaxy, resistance quietly gathers. Noble houses that once bowed now feel suffocated under a rule built on prophecy. Some resent being conquered by faith rather than politics, while others fear the unstoppable devotion of Fremen warriors. What began as a liberation movement has become a force that threatens the balance of power everywhere. Plots form not just to defeat Paul, but to shatter the myth surrounding him. Enemies realize that killing a ruler is simple compared to killing an idea. Meanwhile, within the Fremen, divisions appear. Some see Paul as the fulfillment of ancient promises, a leader destined to guide them beyond the desert into dominance among the stars. Others wonder whether the dream of paradise is corrupting their identity. Water flows more freely than before, yet with it comes a subtle loss of the harsh discipline that once defined them. The desert taught survival through struggle, and now comfort threatens to erase that strength. The culture that elevated Paul may not survive the peace he tried to give them. Paul's sister grows into a figure both revered and feared. Her awareness stretches beyond ordinary perception, giving her insight into human motives that unsettles allies and enemies alike. She senses cracks forming in the future, branching possibilities that even Paul cannot clearly interpret anymore. Where once his visions seemed precise, now they fracture as if the universe resists being predicted. She warns him that power anchored in inevitability will eventually break because people cannot live forever inside someone else's destiny, political. Tensions intensify when whispers spread of a conspiracy, combining old imperial loyalists, hidden manipulators, and those who fear the spread of religious conquest. They understand that confronting Paul militarily would only strengthen his legend. Instead, they plan to undermine the certainty of prophecy itself. If the universe sees him make a mistake, doubt will spread faster than faith ever did. Their strategy is patience, manipulation, and turning his own abilities against him. Paul realizes the trap forming around him. The future he once followed now closes in from every direction, forcing choices where all outcomes carry loss. To maintain peace, he must act with ruthlessness that contradicts the compassion that shaped him. To remain merciful invites chaos that would ignite even worse wars. Leadership becomes a paradox. Every path forward is wrong, yet standing still guarantees disaster. He begins to understand that prescience shows consequences but never solutions. Chni urges him to choose humanity over mythology. She believes the only way to stop the endless violence committed in his name is to step down from the role others built around him. Yet he fears that abandoning the throne would unleash factions fighting over his absence. The legend might grow even stronger once separated from the man. Their love turns into a debate about responsibility, whether he belongs to himself or to history. The desert itself begins changing in unpredictable ways. Terraforming efforts alter the delicate balance of Arrakis, affecting the giant creatures tied to the spice that powers interstellar travel. The transformation promises a greener world but risks destroying the very resource that made the planet valuable. Some celebrate the coming of water as freedom from hardship, while others recognize it as the beginning of ecological collapse. Paul must decide whether the Fremen dream of paradise is worth the cost of their identity and the galaxy's stability. As conspiracies tighten, a devastating attack shakes the Empire, not aimed at killing Paul but at exposing vulnerability. For the first time, people witness him unable to prevent tragedy he should have foreseen. Doubt spreads rapidly. Followers question quietly, enemies grow bold, and the myth begins to crack. Paul feels the future shifting beyond his grasp, realizing that prescience depended on belief as much as ability. When people stop seeing him as inevitable, the visions blur. His sister warns that the universe resists permanent control. Every empire eventually collapses because certainty suffocates growth. She suggests the only true freedom lies in allowing unpredictability to return, even if it means surrendering authority. The idea terrifies him because chaos once destroyed his family. Yet he begins to see that preventing chaos entirely has created a different kind of destruction. In private moments, Paul reflects on the boy he once was, a displaced heir trying to survive betrayal. That person feels distant compared to the emperor commanding legions. He wonders whether destiny shaped him or whether fear of loss pushed him to embrace power. The difference matters because one path justifies rule while the other condemns it. Memory becomes both comfort and accusation. The resistance prepares a final move, designed not as assassination but as revelation. They aim to force Paul into a decision visible to the entire galaxy, one that contradicts prophecy. If the universe witnesses uncertainty in the man believed to see all outcomes, faith will fracture. Paul realizes the only way to stop endless war may be to allow that fracture himself. Victory may require losing the image of perfection. Chani stands beside him as he confronts the possibility of letting the legend die. She understands the cost. Without myth, enemies will attack, allies may abandon them, and peace will be fragile. Yet she also sees hope that people will choose their futures rather than surrender them to visions. Their bond strengthens because the choice is finally theirs, not history's. The climax unfolds not through massive battle, but through a moment of truth witnessed across worlds. Paul rejects the path expected of him, breaking the pattern others believed unchangeable. Shock spreads faster than violence. Some followers feel betrayed, others relieved, and enemies hesitate because the man they oppose no longer fits their plans. The future becomes uncertain again. In the aftermath, power structures shift. Without absolute certainty guiding them, societies must negotiate rather than obey. Conflict does not vanish, but it becomes human instead of holy. Paul accepts that he cannot save everyone from suffering, only prevent suffering justified as destiny. The burden of being worshipped lifts. Replaced by the simpler burden of being responsible, the desert wind carries a different meaning now. Arrakis remains harsh yet honest, no longer shaped by prophecy but by choice. The Fremen adapt once more, rediscovering resilience not through conquest but through survival. The galaxy moves forward without a single guiding vision. Uncertain yet alive, the story ends with Paul and Chani looking toward a future unwritten. He no longer sees countless branching wars in perfect clarity, only possibilities shaped by decisions yet to come. For the first time, he experiences freedom, frightening, fragile, and real. The era of inevitability ends, replaced by the difficult hope that humanity must decide its own path rather than follow one foretold.